Hello, everyone. This is a tutorial for the selective coloring test. So you're going to be asked to copy this here, and I'm going to have you practice first doing the girl in the red dress so we can practice here, do everything that you need to learn in the practice, and then I'm going to show you this picture here without giving you instructions, and you have to just copy it, and I'm going to see if you know how to do it. Okay, so that is what we are going to do here. So first thing I need you to do is go to Google Classroom, go to Selective Coloring Test. You're going to see that you have the instructions here. So I gave you instructions for how to get the girl with the red dress, and then the Easter eggs. And then here's one with a picture of nature and getting the trees colored. So all three of these instructions can work for your inspirational poster that you're going to be making by yourself. So you're going to be doing independent work on that. Okay. So first thing, let me go ahead in here. There are student examples. So let me just go to that right now so you can see right here. Let me just pull these up real quick. Okay, so you can see your assignment is to bring in a picture. You can bring in a picture of yourself or a picture from the internet. Make sure it's a free to use or share picture. And then you're going to put a black and white adjustment layer over it. And then you're going to paint in the mask. And when you paint in the mask, you're going to reveal one area of color. Okay, and that area of color is going to be sort of your statement for your inspirational poster. Okay, so reach new heights, be proud, be yourself, don't be afraid to make a splash. So the picture and the quote should go together. Okay, so nothing can stop you here. Keep on shining. Fate will always find its way. You can do it. Keep moving forward. So be careful about the image that you pick, so that way when you bring out the color, it goes with your quote. Okay. So, and then this is what we're going to be doing now. So I have, you're going to be practicing how to make an image black and white, and then how to bring back that color. And then you're going to put in a quote. And then we're also going to actually extend this picture a little bit and then add a gradient behind it. Okay. And then this is the one that you're going to be doing here. So you're going to be doing this as your test. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I need you to do is, depending on the computer that you're working on, I want you to look at your images. So I gave you two images with the woman with the red dress. I gave you a medium size file and a large size file. Depending on the computer you're working on, if you're in the classroom and you're working on an older computer, take this one here. If you're on a newer computer, then you can get the large. Or if you're at home and you're not quite sure, I would say go ahead and download the medium size image. So you're going to come here, get the image. You know how to do this already. Open a new window. You're going to download the image. Okay, once you download it, it's going to go in your downloads or wherever you have it saved. Okay, and then you're also going to download this Easter eggs image. So come here, same thing, open a new window, and then you're going to download that picture. Okay, so we have both of them downloaded before you get Photoshop opened up and ready to go. Okay, so after you have both images ready, we're now going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Okay. So once you're in Photoshop, you're going to go File, Open. Okay. First thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the woman with red dress. Either get the medium or the large. I'm going to go ahead and get the medium size for you and hit Open. Okay. So here we have this picture. You can see it's in color and you can see it's on the background. Okay, so let's first call this colored photo. And okay, and I want to tell you that I'm going to have you write the inspirational quote above her head, but we don't have that much room to work. So, and the reason why I know that is I've already done it. So we're going to extend the picture a little bit so that way we have a little bit more space on top to put our quote. And this is something that you need to know how to do anyway, because you might need to do this for your future projects. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do it now. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to use the crop tool and we're going to extend this up higher, okay? So go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, grab the crop tool. When you're in the crop tool, make sure it says ratio up here, okay? And we want to just take this handle and then just move it up. Now I'm in inches and I think you're in pixels, so I can't tell you what size the pixels are, but if you count the rows of squares, so like you have 1 row, 2, 3, so I have 3 rows of squares going across. So maybe you can just sort of judge it like that. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and then after you have something like that, go ahead and hit your check mark. Okay, and you could see that my picture needs to be extended. So how are we going to make this picture grow up here? We can use content aware. We've used content aware before when we were doing the Banksy project. We selected something and then we went to edit content aware and we made it disappear. But we also can add things as well. Okay, so content aware is a really powerful tool. Okay, so let's go ahead, grab your rectangular marquee tool, and I want you just to select the top part and just get a little bit of the picture inside your selection. Okay, because the selection needs to have those pixels in there to duplicate it up here. Okay, and then after you have that, we're going to go to edit, fill. Okay, so edit, fill. In your fill, you most likely have foreground color. So come down to content aware. Okay, and then make sure blend mode is normal and then hit OK. Okay, and now it just filled it based off of the pixels that you had selected. Pretty cool, right? So now go ahead and Command D. Okay, and so now we have a little bit bigger or larger canvas to work with. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to turn this to a black and white image, but we don't want to do it destructively. We want to do it non-destructively. So what I want you to do is come down to your adjustment layer. Whenever I say adjustment layer, you should automatically know to come down here, and we're going to go to black and white. So go down to black and white, okay, and you could see it already turned to black and white. Now, if I would come here and move my scales, I could make it, I could change it, make it lighter or darker, but I'm not sure which way to go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let Photoshop tell me what they believe it should look like. So I'm just going to come here to auto. And I would say that probably looks good. It makes her a little bit darker and keeps the background lighter. If you still want to make any adjustments you can, but I would say the auto probably worked pretty good. So go ahead and just do the X. Okay, and so now we have black and white. So you guys have been doing this the whole year, and really we have been ignoring this mask here, but this is the icon for black and white. So because we have the adjustment layer up here, this is the black and white icon. So it's telling me that this is sitting on top of my colored picture, and this is making this picture black and white. Okay, so if we come into this mask and paint in the mask, we're going to reveal whatever is underneath, which is this colored picture. So let's go ahead. There's 2 ways to reveal in this mask. You can reveal with a paintbrush or with the selection tool. So the first place we're going to go is with the paintbrush. So make sure you have black as your foreground by hitting the D key. Come up and grab your brush. And for this project, we're going to use a hard round brush, but most of the time I prefer a soft round, but I want you just to be able to see what you're doing. So we're going to use a hard round brush for this one. So bring it down to about 30, size 30. Okay, and hit enter. Okay, so I'm now making sure I'm on my black and white layer and I'm up here in my mask. Okay, make sure you have it set to normal. Make sure you have 100%, 100%. If I come over here and start painting, look what's happening. Okay, I notice that I have a black area here. So wherever I'm painting is showing black here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. So just always tell yourself when you are working in a mask, and I'm just going to do this, I'm not going, I'm sort of being sloppy now because I just want to show you quickly what the brush does, okay? Now, if you were using the brush tool and you were wanting it to be exact, you would be, of course, taking your time. So I'm just going to do this quick, and then you can move your bracket, make it bigger. Okay, and of course I'm going outside the line, and you can see I went outside here. You can see that I'm just going to do it on purpose so that way you can see if I want to make an adjustment, I can change it and fix that, okay? So when you're doing this, when you look over here, tell yourself that black is going to reveal anything that's underneath here, anything that's underneath it. Black reveals what is underneath. White hides. Okay, so black reveals. So if I come over here and I make it white, and then I come over here, it looks like I'm erasing, right? It looks like I'm erasing, but I'm actually hiding. Now, if I went a little bit too far, I go back and get my black and make my adjustments that way. Okay, so black reveals and white hides. So if we want to reveal the color of the car, I could come over here, do the same thing with the car. Okay, wherever I paint black, it's going to reveal the color underneath or whatever I have underneath. Okay, so that's using a brush. And remember, if you want to hide it or you don't want that there, just go back over it with your white brush. Make it white and go over it. Okay, I'm going to now show you the second way. Okay, and that is with the selection tool. So I'm making my brush nice and big, and I'm using my white, and I am just going back to black and white. So you can see there's a little speck there, so I better come over here and let's see, where is that? Okay, so I got rid of that. Okay, so if you notice that it's all white here, you're good to go. Okay, so the first way is using your brush. The second way is using a selection tool. So let's go down to Command minus. Let's turn that off. And we're going to come down here to the colored photo. It's going to be easier to make a selection on the colored photo than the black and white layer, okay? So I want you to come over here, grab your move tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, grab your quick selection tool. Now I could just use the quick selection tool and selector, but I'm just going to do select subject first. So make sure sample all layers is checked. Okay, always sample all layers needs to be checked. Select subject. Let's see what happens. Okay, so Photoshop is doing a pretty decent job. It's selecting most of her. It's not getting her hand and then the space here. So we're going to refine the selection. We're going to go to select and mask. Okay, you guys have been here before when we've been here before when we were doing the seahorse. Remember, we did the seahorse in the select and mask for the polygonal project. So we're going to come back to this, and I really want you to practice using select and mask and getting to know this well, because it's going to serve you well with your future projects. Okay, so we're going to be over here, and I'm going to keep us in marching ants for now. And we're going to go up here to this top brush. We can add to it. So if I come over here, I can add her hand, which is not his, and her toes needs to be added. Okay, I also notice her shoulder needs to be added as well. Okay, and then we notice that this needs to be taken away. So let's come here with our minus brush and then just click in there, and it's going to automatically select that. Okay, so right now the selection looks good. If we come over here to black and white, we can see what it looks like. If we come here, we can see, yeah, that looks pretty good, right? So always check it over here and see if you need to make any adjustments. You can make adjustments. Okay. And then we're going to come down here. Now for your seahorse, we did not want to put a feather on it because we were using polygonal edges. But for this, we want to use a feather. So I'm going to have you come over here and take your feather and make it 1 to 2 pixels. So I'm just going to do 1.5 pixels here. And then that's going to make it a softer edge around the selection. Okay. So we're good to go. Go ahead and hit OK. Okay, so you notice that we're still down here and we have the selection. We don't want to do anything down here. We want to come back up here, right? We want to come up here and we actually want to be in this white mask when we fill it, right? We want to fill it with black here in this white mask. So if you have white as your foreground or black as your, if you don't have black as your foreground, come over here and do the arrows, or you could do D and then hit X. Okay, so we want black as our foreground. We want to make sure that we're selected in here. And then you could do the paint bucket, or you can just do the shortcut for fill, which is Option Delete. Okay, when we do Option Delete, it filled it with black right over here. You can check it and we're done. So then get rid of your dancing ants, your marching ants by Command D. Okay, so that looks amazing right now. So you can see that it looks pretty good. If I shrink down the picture, yep, that looks great. Okay, so now what we want to do next is we want to type the quote with, let's see. So we want to type, be bold, be brave enough to be your true self. So what you're going to do, you're going to go here and we're going to make a new layer. Okay, you're going to get your horizontal type tool. Oh, wait a minute, where am I? Horizontal type tool, which is this one here. Okay, you want to make sure you have black as your color. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a font, which is Cortado Cortado. And I don't know if you have it or not, but you can choose any font that you like as long as you make it nice and big and it goes across your paper. Okay, and you know what? Let me just make sure. I think actually I want us to actually do it in white. That way you can get ready for your practice test. So we're going to do it in white. So let's go ahead and choose white instead. Choose white. Okay, and let's see, what size do I want to make it? I'm going to start with size 18, but I'm not sure if that's going to be, I think that's going to be okay. Okay, so be bold, be brave enough. Let me just make sure I have. Okay, so you're just going to start typing. See, be bold, be brave enough. Let me make sure I know what I'm doing. Be bold, be brave enough to be your true self. Okay. Okay, so be bold, be brave enough to be your true self. After you're done typing, you can get your move tool. If it's too small and it's not big enough to go across your paper, you know that you guys can come over here. Well, there's a couple different ways. You can select all of it and make your font size bigger, right? You can select all of it and make it bigger, or you can come over here, rasterize your type. Okay, then you could do Command T. And then you can make it bigger, right? You can stretch it up so it's more noticeable. Okay, so, and then you can move it over. Okay, so something like that. And then done there. Now, we want to do Queen Latifah. So she's the artist that said that. So we need to type Queen Latifah. I would say make it in a different font and smaller. Okay, so let's come over here and make a new layer. Okay, go back to your type tool, make it, I'm going to choose Times New Roman, but you can choose it to any font that you want. I'm going to make it size 10. And then I'm going to just come here, and then I usually start with a hyphen or dash, and then Queen Latifah. Is it a capital L? Latifa. Okay. And there it is. Okay, now you can notice that this looks decent, but it's, if this is supposed to be a poster, nobody's going to be able to read it because I have white on top of all this white back here. So I need to make this top part darker so the viewer can see it. Remember, we are not making this for ourselves when we're this close. We are making it for a person walking past it or driving past it or, looking at it quickly. So we need to make sure that we can have words that can be read. Okay. So we're going to come down here. We're going to make a new layer and we're going to make it a black. So top black gradient. Okay. And you're going to be doing this for your test. Okay. But you're going to be doing the gradient down here and you're going to be putting your quote down here on your Easter egg picture. Okay. So we have it here. Okay. We know where our letters are. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we're selected on here. Make sure you have black as your foreground by hitting the D key. You're going to come to your gradient tool. When you come to your gradient tool, you notice your presets. And if you have everything in folders, right, all your folders are down here. I think it's called your basics. So open up your basics folder and it should be this middle one here. So you should have black going into transparent. So black going into a transparent, okay, or foreground to transparent is the selection. Hit OK. Make sure you have linear selected up here. Okay, and then I usually start up here above the poster and I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to hold down my shift key and I'm just going to, oh gosh, you know what? Sorry, I have reverse selected. So let's try that again. So I'm going to come up here and do something like that. If you don't think it's long enough, you can come up here, hold down your shift key and make it longer. Okay, and that's a little bit, now that's definitely better, right? But maybe you're like, I don't want it to be so black up there. I just want it to be darker. Let me see. Let me make this a little bit longer. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Okay. And I am going to now come over here and start scrolling through. What does darken look like? Multiply, color burn, lighten, screen, overlay, soft light. So overlay looks pretty good. Even darken looks good because it gives me, so if I'm on normal, well, you know what? I'm thinking overlay, soft light, hard light looks pretty good. Vivid light. So I'm thinking maybe one of these, maybe hard light, and I come over here and bring it down a little bit. Something like that. So it has a little bit of the picture behind it, but still enough for you to be able to read. Okay, and now we're done. So this part was practice. So be bold, be brave enough to be your true self, Queen Latifah, and you are going to use this here to help you make your test. Okay, so all your layers should be labeled colored photo, black and white adjustment layer, top black gradient. Here's your quote, and then here's your artist name. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that file. Save as. So save it as a PSD file. You're not going to be handing this in. Okay, so you can just call it selective coloring practice. And you can use this when you do yours at home or at school. Selective coloring practice, okay? And you're just going to save it to your desktop or wherever you want to save it. Okay, and then now we're going to go ahead and open the Easter egg picture. So now go File, Open. Find your Easter egg picture that you downloaded. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this. Oops, let's go ahead and change this to colored photo. Okay, and then let's change the title right now. File, Save As. Okay, actually selective coloring test. Selective coloring test, space, last name, first name, P, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So selective coloring test, space, last name, first name. Okay. And then you're going to have it saved correctly. It's going to ask you this. Just say the fastest saving, which is the large, and then hit OK. Okay. And then what you're going to do, you're now going to create what I'm going to show you now. Okay. So you're going to make it black and white. Okay. You're going to make the bottom a black gradient. You're going to write the quote, "I prefer living in color," okay, by David Hockney. And then you're going to, actually, I forgot. So you're going to have a color photo. You're going to make this black and white, and then you're going to select the eggs. Okay. So select the eggs inside your mask with either a paintbrush or a selection tool. When you select them or paint them, you have this black here. It reveals the color underneath. Okay. And then after you have that, so after you have the colored eggs, you're then going to make this darker down here by adding a bottom black gradient. Okay. Then you're going to type the quote, "I prefer living in color." I want it to be in white. I want color to be larger. Okay. Then you're going to make a new layer and then type the artist name, David Hockney. He's the one that said that. Okay. He was a famous modern artist. So David Hockney. Okay. And then you're going to have to figure out how to make color a gradient color. Okay. And I did not show people this in school, so I'm just going to just tell you quickly. Okay. If you want, you could use the magic wand. Okay. So if you're on here, you could take your magic wand and you could select each letter and exclamation point, right? And then you can go to your gradient. You have to make sure that you have a colorful gradient selected. If you don't have a colorful gradient, you need to make one. And you guys know how to make gradients. You just touch the bottom of the gradient bar to make colors. Okay, once you touch the bottom of the gradient bar, look what happens. You get a square. And then you can just change that and make it any color you want. Okay, oops. Hit OK. Okay, so you can add any color in there, and then you can move them around. So you can make any color gradient you want, okay, and then you can fill it, okay, or the other way, that if you don't do the magic wand, the way that I did it first was I went down here to my adjustment layer, I went to gradient, okay, and then when I went to gradient, I picked my gradient here, okay, and then I made it much smaller. Let's see, 40. And if I then, let's see, my angle, let's see, take my move tool and, it's actually, let's see, maybe I want to make that smaller. Let's see, what's 30 look like? Okay, let's see. And then if I have that and grab my you know what? Let me come back over here, get my move tool. Oh, you know what? I don't want the whole thing in red. That's interesting. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Where did, I was interesting. I don't know why. Oh, you know what? Okay, so let's see. Oh, you know what? That's what's happening. Okay, so now I have this here, So if I come here, create clipping mask, it's only in here. Okay, so I was wondering what was happening. Okay, so let me delete that layer. So you can either have it, so if I undo the, so there's my gradient right here, right? So here's my gradient here. And if it's not clipped to this quote, it's going to look like that, right? So I need to come here, create clipping mask, and now it's only in here, okay? And if I come back in here, I can grab my move tool and I can move it. So if I make my scale bigger, okay, it colors the whole thing. If I bring my scale down, it only then works over here, okay? Or you can use the magic wand and then just do what I did on this one with the magic wand, okay? Either way. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do, and you're going to, the finished result is going to be a color picture with your 4 eggs colored. You're going to do a quote, I prefer living in color. I want your gradient in your color to be red, green, blue, and yellow, at least those 4 colors, because those colors are in your picture. And then make sure you have David Hockney, okay? And make sure that I can read your writing. So please pick your font carefully, okay? So that's what it's going to look like. And then once you're done, submit it. Make sure that you have the name done here, selected coloring test, and that you export it correctly, and then hand it into Google Classroom. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you at school. Bye.